Hey everyone. I'd like to start by telling you something I hate, and that is the phrase the new normal. Whenever I hear anyone talk about the new normal, my insides kind of twist. But there is one area I think we kind of have to say that really applies to, and that's ammo prices. Now, I know I've been talking about ammo prices a lot lately, but if you're someone into firearms, I mean, it's a really big deal. So, in my last video a few days ago, I was talking about how I picked up some ammo, and rather than being 17 a box, it was about 21. So, roughly that's about let's see, so maybe about a 25% increase in price. So 25% over, like, say, a year and a half or so, and that's pretty steep. But you got to wonder: is part of it price gouging? Is it just kind of due to the situation at hand? And I think for some stores, there might be a small degree of gouging, but I wanted to take a look at some of the costs that go into making ammunition. So I did. Now, this is admittedly a very, very quick bit of research I did. This took me about maybe 10 or 12 minutes to do, so not much going on here. And what I did was I did a lot of very quick mathematics in my head, because a lot of the prices of base metals are by ton, so I kind of used my public school math skills to get the price per pound. And what I did was I figured I would take some prices from the month of March of 2020, because it was kind of like a tumultuous economic month. And then I used November of 2021, where we are now as I record this video. And I just wanted to look at some of the prices and where they are. So what I did was I put a few things down here. Basically, the components that make up a cartridge. So, the big one is lead. Most bullets are made of lead. As far as the casings go, most casings are made of brass, but getting prices for just regular brass isn't too easy, because, I mean, it's an alloy that, usually I found that brass is like 66% copper, 34% zinc. So what I did was I actually looked for the prices of copper separately and zinc separately, and, the rationale there is if the prices of zinc and prices of copper go up, prices of brass will rise. And as we know, that there are also some aluminum casings and steel casings. So what I saw is that in March 20, I was finding that prices for lead were around 75 cents per pound. Right now, about $1.10. Aluminum was about 76 cents. Right now, $1.34. Steel, $1.65. Right now, $2.11. Now, as for copper, you might remember some of my old videos. I'm kind of encouraging you to go to the bank if you can, get some pennies, if they have them, and pull out some of those copper ones. It's a good way to save some cash. Pay a penny, get 3 cents. And as you could tell, copper prices were $2.17, and they are now $4.34, which is actually down, because a few weeks ago I think it was around $4.65 to $4.75 a pound, and now it's $4.34. And zinc has risen $1.10 to $1.51. So when you look at some of these percentage increases, you're looking at, let's say, probably about maybe 30% to 40% increases for some of them. If you look at copper actually went up 100%. Zinc went up about roughly 40%, and I'm doing these really quick, so please forgive my quick calculations. Aluminum, I would say that's about 80% offhand quickly. So, I mean, you can see that me paying 25% more for that box of ammunition I purchased, well, it's not the most pleasant thing, but it's certainly understandable when you look at how these prices have gone up quite a bit. Now, the other interesting thing is that the prices from March, if you look at, say, a 2-year chart on these materials, they actually dropped quite a bit in March. So those prices for March were a little out of the ordinary because of all the things that were going on, and it drove them a little lower. So In February, some of those 75% prices might have been like 85 or 90. So this difference is admittedly exaggerated a bit. Another thing is, to kind of balance that out, is some of these prices are actually starting to kind of come back down to earth. So it's like these swung really, really low, like unusually low in March. And some of these prices right here went kind of, especially I would say copper mainly, went really, really high about a month ago. And now they're starting to come down a little bit. So, I'm thinking that's going to put some pressure on the prices of ammunition to kind of moderate just a bit. And like I said, I think we're going to see those increases because, as you can tell, these components are, at least the raw materials, the lead, the aluminum, steel, the copper, zinc, those are still higher. So even though those price increases are probably going to moderate, you're still going to see things going up. So that got me kind of curious. I went to Google and I typed in average hourly rate. And when I typed in average hourly rate, again in March, average hourly rate was $24 an hour. Right now, it's about $26.25 an hour. So again, you're looking at about a little over a 10%, maybe about 11% increase in the hourly rate over the past maybe 20 months. That's another substantial increase, and you'd have to think that might even be a bit higher in the manufacturing sector, especially if what I've been hearing is that they've been running, ammo factories 24 hours a day. So you probably have a lot of people getting paid time and a half or double time keeping those machines going. So they might be making more than that because they're putting in a lot of hours. On the flip side, we have powder and primers. I'm not even going to pretend to know what the going rate for powder and primers, especially primers, is right now, if you can even find them. But I mean, I would feel comfortable in saying that since the rate of inflation is up in the general market about 5 to 6% over the last year, that the price of primers and powder is probably up at least 5 to 6%, especially with the demand for ammunition, the demand created by some of the new gun owners and all that good stuff. So, you're probably looking at least 5 to 6% here. So, basically, I really don't think we're ever going back to the really cheap prices. I don't think we're going to see 18 cent per round 9mm or 4 cent per round 22. I just don't think it's going to happen. There's so much upward pressure on the minimum wage that I think that's going to have an effect on pushing up people who are a little higher up on the income ladder. Inflation is just killing people. I think that's going to lead to higher labor costs. And same thing with the metals. I can see them maybe moderating a bit, but I don't see there being really big drops in these materials. And you figure if these prices do continue to keep up with inflation, I just don't see us going back to the way those prices were back then. And I think to a smaller degree, I think all these new gun owners, I think a lot of them might have just kind of been reactionary. They saw a lot of bad stuff going on. They bought firearms for the first time. Maybe they bought 1 or 2 boxes of ammunition for the first time. And then I think maybe in a couple of years, you're going to see them showing up to the gun shops to sell them and kind of get some money out of it. And you're going to see them showing up on the used market. But I think you're still going to see a lot of people who maybe, say, what, I kind of like this. I like having it and I enjoy shooting. So I think you are going to create some new, let's call them active gun owners who go to the range fairly regularly and do have some level of demand for ammunition. So, I mean, to summarize this article, I've done a lot of rambling, but if you watch my videos, that's what I do. I ramble. But I think seeing ammunition prices 20 to 25% over what they were a year and a half to 2 years ago, I think that's our new baseline. I think that's something to shoot for. I've been telling people that I have no interest in stocking up at high prices. I have no interest in buying 9mm for 50 cents a round. Now, granted, that's way better than it was when it was $1 a round. Twice as good as it was, actually. But I'm still not paying it. I don't need to buy it now. I'm not going to buy it now. Now, when it goes down to, let's say, maybe 25 cents a round, Well, 25 cents a round. I used to pay 18 cents a round when Walmart had that kind of ammunition a long time ago. That's about a 25% increase. At that point, I'm going to figure this is about as good as it gets, or pretty darn close to it, and that's what I'm going to do. So I'm waiting for these prices to come down more before I start stocking up. And I have to be honest with you, I would really suggest that you do the same thing. Wait for these prices to come down more if you're thinking of stocking up. Now, if you need some to go to the range, yeah, by all means, go for it. But I wouldn't be buying it just to stock up at these prices, because I do think we're looking at lower prices once the market slows down a little bit and some of these companies build up their capacity. Now, I remember hearing in a news clip I saw about a month and a half ago that Remington was really getting ready to ramp things up. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that works out. I did see some new Remington ammunition last time I went to the store. Various rifle rounds. I believe they had 30-06 and I want to say maybe 243. So they did have some stuff there, and it was, like I said, it was like new Remington ammo. Doesn't look like it was hanging around for 3 years. Especially it was at Walmart, so nothing hangs around for 3 years there on that ammo shelf. But just to kind of bring that up, I want to get you guys thinking, and I want to get you watching the prices, so you're not overpaying, because that's the other thing. If we overpay, the higher the higher the price that we pay, the higher the quote-unquote new normal price will be. We don't want that to happen. We don't want to artificially drive up demand for these items that should be cheaper and should be less. So just a little food for thought. Hopefully I save you money and make you think about some of the stuff going on in the market. All right, you have a good one, and I will see you later.